Hi, this is Manmat. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to discussing about how to conduct hazard analysis and identify control measures. In this video, we will discuss about how to conduct hazard analysis, what are the steps involved in conducting a hazard analysis, and what are the control measures we have to take at each processing steps which are identified as significant hazards. Now let us start the video. Now let us have a look. Hazard analysis worksheet for cooked IK frozen aquaculture shrimps. So raw material receiving stage. What are the potential food safety hazards? Yes, based on the FDA hazards guide at raw material receiving stage, pathogen contamination and growth. Yes, at the harvesting, if the poor harvesting practices done at the harvesting center may lead to the contamination of pathogens. Let us see whether this hazard is significant or not. At the raw material receiving stage for aquaculture shrimps, the potential hazards are pathogens, aquaculture drugs, environmental chemical contaminants means pesticides and heavy metals. If the aquaculture farms are nearby the agricultural fields, intake of the water from the discharges of the agricultural field may be the chances of contamination of environmental chemicals like pesticides. If the aquaculture ponds are nearby the industrial discharges, then maybe the chances of heavy metal contamination. And this is also the allergen. So let us evaluate these potential hazards are significant or not. The first one is pathogen contamination and growth. Let us have a look. So how to evaluate potential hazards, whether comes under significant or not? We have to, for the determination, we have to ask two questions. Is the hazard is likely to cause consumer illness in the absence of its control at this step? No, because cooking step will follow. So this is not the significant hazard. So like that we have to determine. So then not required justification. Then aquaculture drugs. Let us have a look at aquaculture drugs. Yes, is the hazard aquaculture drugs? Now aquaculture drugs, we have to ask the question, is the aquaculture drugs reasonably likely to occur in finished product if not controlled at raw material receiving stage? Yes or no? The question is yes, because at raw material receiving stage, if you insist the farmer supplier declaration for non-usage of prohibited drugs, then at this stage only the farmer will supply us the product, or during farming they will not use any aquaculture drugs. So at raw material receiving stage only the hazards can be controlled. So this is why the significant hazard. And the second question, if the hazard is not controlled at raw material receiving stage, aquaculture drugs likely may pose illness or injury to the consumer? No or yes? You have to determine. Yes, if the hazard is not controlled at raw material receiving stage, likely may pose illness. Yes, because of this is the potential hazard is significant. S. Environmental chemicals. Let us have a look. Environmental chemicals at raw material receiving stage, is the hazard is reasonably likely to occur in the finished product in the absence of its control at raw material receiving stage? Yes, the same as aquaculture drugs. What about allergens? Shrimp is a crustacean allergen. So allergen also we have to determine whether this step is significant or not. Allergens at raw material receiving stage. Two questions again. If the hazard is not controlled at raw material receiving step, if the allergen hazard is not controlled at raw material receiving step, likely may occur in finished product? No. Why? Because labeling step, the subsequent labeling, weighing, packing, labeling step, we will declare the crustacean allergen. So this is not the S. So then no. So this is the not a non-significant hazard. And the second question also no will come. Why? Because if the allergens are not controlled at this step, likely may pose illness or injury to the consumer. No, because the labeling step will follow. The end product will be labeled as crustacean allergen. So in this step, allergen significant or not? No, allergen is not a significant. Pathogen is not the significant at the traumatic listing stage. Aquaculture drugs and environmental contaminants including sulfides, potential hazards. Yes. And we have to justify the decision for the column 3. For the aquaculture drugs, yes, carcinogenic. The drugs, antibiotics are carcinogenic. Environmental drugs also may pose health impact. So sulfate also may allergic to the consumer. What preventive measures we have to take? So what control measures? Yes, for this supplier declaration. So that is the main thing. So prohibited drugs, none is the prohibited drugs. And let us have the second one. So this one also, so contaminants, environmental contaminants. So we have to test the farm surrounding water. Farm surrounding water once in a month or once in 2 months based on the risk assessment. We have to control the environmental hazards also. Environmental contaminants like pesticides and heavy metals. The control measures is once in 2 months we have to test the raw material for contaminants like pesticides and heavy metals. And also the canal water also we have to test maybe once in 2 months or once in 6 months based on the risk assessment. Now the second step, cooking, whether these potential hazards are significant or not. Let us have a discussion. Pathogens and allergens. Pathogen, significant or not, to determine 2 questions. First one, at this process step, if the hazard is not controlled properly, likely may occur illness or injury. Question 1, then answer is yes. Okay, pathogen survival, if the temperature, cooking temperature not meets, then the pathogen survival in the end product may occur. Likelihood of occurrence, yes. The question, both the questions are yes. That's why the hazard is significant. Yes, cooking temperature, if cooking temperature as per the FDA validation chart, for example plus 72 degrees centigrade, contact time of 60 seconds will kill the Listeria monocytogenes and pathogenic bacteria. So at this step only the hazards can be eliminated or controlled, reduced to an acceptable level. So that is why this is the significant step. If not controlled at this step, then likelihood of occurrence will be more, and if not controlled at this step, likelihood of illness may occur in the finished product. Okay, and allergen at this step, likelihood of if not controlled, allergens if not declared at this step, likelihood of occurrence in the finished product, no, because labeling step will follow. If this allergen is not controlled at this step and may pose health impact on the consumer, no, labeling step will follow. Both the questions are no. That's why allergen is not a significant hazard, but allergen is the potential hazard. So like that, metal inclusions, same, this thing also, allergen also. We have discussed in our hazard analysis worksheet for 2 products. One is wild caught fish fillets, wild caught fishes, scombroids. So IKF frozen fish fillets, scombroids. In this hazard analysis worksheet, we have discussed about 2 products. One is cooked IKF frozen aquaculture shrimps, and the second one is wild caught fish fillets, scombroids, IKF frozen wild caught fish fillets, scombroids. What are the species related hazard for aquaculture shrimps? Yes, aquaculture shrimps species related hazard is aquaculture drugs. and environmental chemical contaminants including sulfite also. Then what are the process related hazards for cooked frozen aquaculture shrimps? Let us have a look. Process related hazards. The first one is cooking will come process related hazard, and metal detection process related hazard. Allergen also comes under process related hazard. Because why allergen is comes under process related hazard, not species related? Because if we declare during labeling crustacean shrimps, then this hazard at the process step will be eliminated. If you label in declaration, then you can easily eliminate. Then metal detection, why it's a process related hazard? Because of we are using HACCP or cooking, the equipments are metal belts, so possible contamination, likelihood of occurrence of contamination, reduction of metals will be more. And the cooking also, the product is intended to be eaten raw. So these three are process related hazard, and these are the species related hazard. If the shrimps are aquacultured, then the species related hazard is aquaculture drugs. You refer the hazard control guide, FDA, food and food products. You can have this environmental contaminants and aquaculture drugs are the species related hazard for aquaculture shrimps. What about HACCP frozen fish fillets, scombrad fishes, species related hazard? Species related hazard is here is histamine, and product related hazard is metal, allergen. Because fish is a allergen, so we have to declare the label, the product contains fish. Friends, that's all about the as a principle 1, conduct hazard analysis and identify control measures. In our part 2 video, we will discuss about establish critical control points for each significant hazards. If you like the content or context of the video, click the like symbol. For regular updates, subscribe my channel. Thank you and bye bye.